Everyone, welcome to this week's True House Stories. I'm Lenny Fontana, coming out of New York City, and today joined by one of the best guys I know in the disco business, of today's business. That may be said. He's out of London, England, United Kingdom. He goes by the name Andy Williams by birth, but in the show world, Yam Who and Qwestlife are his two monikers. He's also been able to make a record label that is now surpassing many others, and that label's called Midnight Riot. It's a passion, an ongoing disco drama. It's got all the makings of a movie. The actual artwork each week looks like another movie, and all the videos are very reminiscent to nightclubs such as Infinity, Studio 54, Paradise Garage. He's been able to put all those recipes and come up with this idea of making Midnight Riot a household name. And as far as I'm concerned, mission accomplished. So, by no further ado, all the way from the United Kingdom, we have Mr. Andy Williams. Thank you, Mr. Andy. Thank you for joining us. So we always start out with the first question, which is so easy. We know you have a mom and dad, but we know you were born. But where does life begin for you with mom and dad and the journey of this music thing?
I'll keep it simple. But my family is from Wales. My grandma was from Greece, so there's a bit of Greek blood, and my dad. I mean, it's a lot of this is down to my dad. You know, God rest his soul, because he found a way out of poverty. My family's from poverty. A lot of them are still in that position, but he found a way out, and he was a clever dude. Like he was a radar designer and into computers, and we moved to the Isle of Wight, so that's where I grew up until I was about 8 or 9. Then we moved just to outside London, and that's kind of where I think my musical journey started. Like a lot of kids, 8, 9, 10 years old. Fashion, music, and just hanging out. And we were lucky. We were so lucky to come from that era. And I got into dance music and buying records. And like so many of my peers, New York, it was all to do with two things: street sounds compilations, and and discovering those records and going deeper. And at my school, it was all about fashion, dancing, girls, and discovering all this the American music. And that's it. That kind of led up to me leaving home and going out into the big world.
When did you move to London?
About 1980, and that was when, that was when the soul boy, the whole new romantic soul boy thing was really happening. And I was like 10, 11 years old, and then the whole hip hop, graffiti, breakdancing era came. It came over here, and we got the bug, and I don't think that's ever left me.
When you say new romantics, for those that don't know, because I understand what that term is, who were some of the bands of that new romantics era that you can remember?
Well, that's the thing. We were served it. How it was served to me was via the Top of the Pops, and you're talking the more sort of known side, and as a kid, it would be Spandau Ballet, Soft Cell, Visage, Duran Duran, a huge sort of 3 or 4, 5-year spell of incredible music, and that crossed over to your side, And little did I know was I didn't know anything about the club scene because I was too young. And this is something that's just a genre or a strain of music that I've got, I've gone back into as I've progressed. I've gone back into my childhood, and I've been doing that a lot. I do that with the label. I go back to some, it's all based on my formative years of this is where your journey starts. And you can see that in Midnight Riot. I'm going right back to that period, and retracing my childhood. I never want to. I don't want to leave that era. That was the golden era. I'm not a '70s child. I'm probably like 1980, off the wall. Maybe like when Michael first released Off the Wall. That's probably my first disco album. But it was the real, it was Street Sounds, which is run by Morgan Khan. That changed the whole country, and without that, I think a lot of people wouldn't have gone on to, wouldn't have been prepared for, or even educated about that kind of music. Because when the rave scene or the club explosion came. We already had a club scene, and it was based, largely on us having access to that music, because you could buy imports, but the Street Sounds was a huge thing, and I don't think it's really been recognized. But
two things. Number one, you are now categorizing yourself as the MTV generation, because Spandau Ballet and all those bands became a huge success. Because of MTV, they were only reason, not to say that they weren't talented, they were very talented. They had very well done videos. So that was the beginning of the tube where people were seeing videos. You're at a formative age, you're seeing your English counterparts becoming huge mega stars around the world. Even Michael Jackson. The whole Thriller albums, the first of its kind to be on video, and that's a big thing. But take us into the Street Sounds. People around the world, the UK, they know about the Street Sounds, but they don't really know what that was. Well, can you define that?
Yeah, I mean, you should Google the catalog or go onto Discogs, because it was mainly sold through a chain of shops called Our Price, and it was budget albums. $4.99 got you your latest Street Sounds compilation, and that kind of plugged us into, I think, American street culture, and then breakdancing exploded over here. We're always 5-10 years later, but for me, living where I did, I know that was. Without that was my torchlight. That was the one, for me and my peers. You had to, you knew about that music. You knew about Luther. You knew about Arthur Baker, Rocker's Revenge, and that didn't come from nowhere. That came from those albums. And I think virtually everyone I know who grew up in the UK. We were educated from those compilations, so that kind of really helped us, because without that you don't really have any inkling. There was nothing to really sort of shine a light on what was going on in New York, and it was during the 90s when everything exploded here. That's when we were like, oh, where's that sample from? And to become a DJ, I kind of already knew a lot. I knew a lot about this music, and that to answer that question, yeah, Street Sounds. It's incredible what that label actually sort of gave the country.
So it's like a reference point for all of you. All the stuff coming in from America and around the world, they were actually putting together. We were categorized as the K-tel of the era, in a sense, where you bought an album and you had, like you said, Rocker's Revenge, this record, that record, all on one album. So you can actually buy one album, experience it, and hear a whole difference of different sounds coming in that were hot at the moment. Imagine if you didn't have that, what it would be like. What would you, if you didn't have street sounds, what would you have been listening to?
I mean, that pop music was good, but, and, you know, you had your, you know, you still had your, you know, you still had your, I was buying Shep Pettibone remixes, and little did I know there was a club scene. We had no idea, but we kind of knew, we kind of knew who the remixes were. You know, Eminem, John Morales mixes, that they were remixing a lot of pop UK, like credible pop acts. So we can't. It was in our world, but you know, it was the '90s where we started to go deeper into the American culture, or my era did, and or my peers. We definitely we got seriously. You know, you heard the name Paradise Garage around, I think, about 1990. You know, Norman J was a huge thing over here, Kiss FM, and that's where the first inkling of the New York scene. You know, there a scene in the '80s. It's like, oh, okay, I need to start. I need to buy more records now, and that's kind of, you know, I think my story is really similar to a lot of people. A lot.
Norman used to come over, and I spoke to him recently. He's going to be doing the show in a few weeks. And we spoke about, he has family in Brooklyn, and he used to stay all summers. This is 1970, 1980. And he would go out to those clubs, and he experienced all that stuff. So when he was playing that stuff on Kiss in the UK, he was giving you his vision of what New York was doing in those days, which was very helpful for all of you. It's pretty cool. It's amazing how one person's vision can open thousands and thousands of people and set you guys all up to go and do what you do today. It's amazing. It's a domino effect. I always said that. You never know who you're teaching or you're schooling along the way just by what you're seeing. You know, you touch people with our music. It's crazy. Do you have any musical training?
I mean, you know what? Do you know what? Yeah, my you know, a lot of my family were singers, and I was singing. I don't know why why I or people sort of, you know, fall into this into certain, you know, paths in lives, and I was singing, and I think I was as early, you know, 2-3 years old. I was training my ear, and I could, you know, I could sing. I still can sing, and that led me into, I don't know, performing and then playing the piano and a little bit of guitar. But I would say my main thing is keyboards, and it always will be. But I think musical training, it just I don't know, there was something possessed me, and that was it. I've never lost that. I've never lost that bug. So yeah, I would say self-trained, but people along the way. I've had, you know, I've had tuition, but it's something that I've just gravitated towards, and that's key to it all, because if you don't have a passion for this, or if you don't want to force yourself, I don't think anyone can. And it was there at an early age, and that just led into a whole life of wanting to be close to music, and that's just what's guided me. And you know, it turns me on, it excites me. It's everything you need really is there. So no, not formal training as such, but I don't always believe in that.
Yeah, but you don't have to be formally trained to be good.
No way.
There's a lot of people that have no training that have fantastic ears, that have made amazing songs, you know. And then I know people, like I spoke to CeCe Rogers, and we spoke about this, where he went to Berklee College of Music. He's classically trained, vocally and piano-wise. And he meets a DJ named Marshall Jefferson. And he's like, that's it? That simple part? And then he goes and does a warm-up. Not even the final vocal, a warm-up vocal. And that's the one you hear on Someday.
Yeah, it's incredible.
He says, I was furious. furious with Marshall, but then I understand years later why they liked it like that, that rough. I wanted to fix it. He said, nope, session's done. See? So, you know, you don't have to have musical training to be good. What you do need is you need to have computer training today, I think, to be able to succeed in the game.
Absolutely, without a shadow of a
How
doubt.
important is that for these young kids today? How important is that they should know their programs and stuff on what they're working on? Do you think?
Yeah, but you know, it's part of being a technician and learning your trade, and it's just been, you know, the technology has just elevated us into, you know, into the stratosphere, which wasn't there before. Now it's like a hugely serious business, and without it, yeah, with pre-computers it was a different business, and now it's gone the other way. I'd be an advocate of technology, plus this old school way is really important, and that's where I'm at. I'm covering both of those.
And that's important. You know, I tell everyone, you want to know what you're doing, know how to work that program very well. And because that's going to be your hand in the project. You may not know how to make the music part of it, but you should know the technical part at least. You know, you can't expect someone else to run your computer and express your feelings exactly. They're not going to be exactly you, you know, even though they may listen to you and be your guide, but they can't be you, you know? Why did you pick disco music as the forte of now? Because house music in the 90s was so prevalent. You know, we as all DJs and producers, we were bringing this from New York, and Strictly Rhythm was running the Roots and Nervous Records, and, you know, A&M Records in those days when Simon was over there, he was signing stuff, and Positive, and there was some humongous hits that came out from the house music scene. What made you pick disco to take that position?
It's the hi-hats. So you'll never get bored of a disco.
More cowbell.
Hi-hats. I've had nights out where I've just listened to live hi-hats in disco records, and I think that's the difference. It's the nuances, and not to you can't dismiss house music because it's a huge entity, but I like quirky shit, and I like the back room, and I like a bit of tragedy, and I like everything about the history of disco, the people, you know, how it makes you feel. Everything. It's like a puzzle that you can't you'll never complete it. And I think out of all the genres, not that I'm you know, I'll listen to a song that's what I'm into, but if I had to put my money on a genre, or put my life into a style of music, it's this. And you can't. I don't even think you can categorize it. It's just the one thing that I would say is because the dance music culture came in here like a juggernaut, and so did technology. And it kind of wiped out a lot of that era, and so, you know, going back 10 years, you know, look at the disco demolition as well. That, you know, that wiped out a lot of this music, and it was through the dance music explosion coming over here. We again, like what I was saying, we were hearing these samples, and we wanted to go deeper. And that's where my love affair started with it. And it was just because it was forgotten about. And again, I want to go back. I'm just going back, and then I'm you know, I'm moving it forward, and that's what I'm doing now. So I don't know. It's just a beautiful genre, and you know, it's so free and open, and it covers everything. And I like the I romanticize about how it was in its heyday, because I wasn't there. So if I was there, I probably wouldn't be doing this. It's because I wasn't that I'm chasing something that I can't really capture, and that's what it is.
And that to me is awesome because, you know, you said the magic words. It's beautiful. The music is beautiful and can be campy at the same time. You know, is the campiness what brings you to the back room? I mean, is that, you know, because I do hear some of the releases do go that direction. I'm not making it in a derogatory way. It's got that campiness about it. You say, oh, okay, that's a track, you know, would have been like played back then. You know, it's cool. It's not, you know, it's not the ultra R&B disco type track like a Patti LaBelle, but this would have been more played in your white clubs or, you know, like something like a YMCA, you know, that kind of feel. Is that something that you're thinking about when you guys are making records, or you just making them with the idea going, right, here it is, let's just put the drums down, let's just start making records? How does that work for Yam Who and Qwestlife as the production teams that you guys do?
I think for me it's a London thing, and it you know we all come from somewhere, and being here again, it's my vision, or what you see in your, you know, in your mind, and that's what you know, with the artwork, that's what I'm creating. I'm pulling you in for 5 minutes. I'm pulling you in with that song and that artwork and whatever the video is, and that's what I want you to feel for, you know, 5 to 6 minutes. And it might have this, that, and the other. It might have the 4 ingredients. It might have the 8. And you know, you're trying to, you're not trying to repeat yourself. So each release, or you're feeling that day, you wanna do something that you haven't touched upon, but it is definitely going back to that era. And you know, New York then, that's the utopia that we're chasing. It is, because the club scene or the world isn't going to go back to that era. And that's what I'm doing. It's like fulfilling a fantasy that can't be fulfilled. And you know, we're in London. It's a very it's a very mixed city. It's so open here. You know, you can be whoever you want to be, and this is just what I've chosen to do.
Did you guys ever think that Glitterbox, that started in the back rooms in Ibiza, would become the Saturday night music in the main room as disco? Did you ever, any of you ever thought that would happen?
Yeah, I mean, that was my feeling from, I think, the early 90s. It was like, wow, why isn't this being taken somewhere? And I've been chasing that forever. And then, you know, they conceived, or they were the only people who could actually conceive this, and for it to become what it is. And thank the Lord, because things were getting really boring.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Oh my God. And when it did hit, you know, I was one happy individual, because it's ignited something that was missing, and it's pulled back a lot of people who are probably presumed dead. And also the young people are, you know, this is what they want. This is the new fix. So, oh God, I mean, I don't even know what I'd be doing, because having signed to them and sort of become, you know, involved in their world, that's really helped what I've done. And, you know, it's catapulted me as well.
Yeah, they got a heavy imprint in the game. I got to give Simon Dummer a lot of credit. He's a fat, like, in a sense, not fat heavy wise, but he's a fat cat. Has made house and disco, you know, very prevalent, especially in the last 10 years with the changes of EDM. You know, he's weathered out the storm. He's been able to sign key records that have kept this generation tuned in. But let's speak about, where the hell does Yam Who come in? That's your other name. Tell us about Yam Who and those pseudo names.
Okay, so yeah, it's all about the concept and the pseudonym for me, and yeah, that's from the New York Jerky Boys. I worked in yeah, yeah. So I got a really good break in the mid-90s in London. I got a job in Reckless Records, and that led up to Yam Who. I was there for about 7 years. I was making, I was making my name as a disco DJ when disco was just like no one was interested. And but through that shop, I must credit everyone who just sort of influenced me in that shop. And we were all addicted to the Jerky Boys, and so my surname Williams. For some reason, there's a dude who worked there. Got to give a shout out to my man Nigel Vincent, because the Jerky Boys called up a Chinese dentist called Nam Who, and my surname was William, and he started one day he just said Yam Who, yeah. So we were obsessed with the Jerky Boys, and it was for a Chinese dentist called Nam Who, and I needed a name. I needed a producer's name, and they were calling me Yam Who, so that's where it came from. Yeah, from the record shop, and that record shop gave me my career, because it was there. I was buying equipment. I was learning to produce, and it was through here. It's a secondhand record shop, and that was my university of everything. You name it, I discovered music there, and I was there 12 years all in all, and that's a good education. And my career had already started when I was working there, and it was just one of those opportunities that I created.
Give us the actual address of Reckless Records, the University of Reckless Records, to people who around the world never heard, and the tube stop that was near. I remember that record shop very clear.
Circus, it's Berwick Street. It's still there. Still open, still surviving. Go dig in the racks, because there's some serious tunes in there.
That's a university of universities, that store, for sure.
And
What year did you start DJing?
1989. I went to university, or it was a college then, and within a few days I'd met Simon Phase Action when he wasn't Phase Action, and lo and behold, they had no DJs. No one knew what a DJ was. This was Bournemouth. I went to do a course in Bournemouth, and got seriously into running parties for 3 years, and that honestly, Lenny, I mean, no one knew no one knew disco records, and Simon Lee, I mean, I have to, these key people along the way. He 1989, he was a big DJ collector, and he turned me on to so much stuff, and that's where it started. I haven't really stopped. So 1989 was my debut.
Your debut. So here you come raking in those boxes of disco. We thought disco was done, mate. We're on house music. You're coming in playing that old shite disco music. Yeah. Why are you playing this disco music? And who are you playing it to at that time? What was your age group? What was your clientele in front of you?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a real mixed bag. We were buying house. I was buying new groove. I was buying a lot of hip hop. We had Talking Loud over here, acid jazz. So it was a really eclectic education, because Balearic was big. Andy Weatherall, Primal Scream. It was huge. So we had the whole crossover indie dance. But I've always that disco's been the one thing that I've just stayed with, and you're always going to be discovering unknown disco productions, and until you leave. I don't know. We can talk more about this, but I think it's the fact that it was live musicians, and that's the one thing I'm probably involved with a little bit now, is trying to capture that essence of, or the nuances or the organics of live instrumentation, and that goes back to, well, that goes fast forward into Qwestlife, Glitterbox, creating classic music. Not to say that I'm the best, but it all comes from that passion for disco.
So Qwestlife, what is that whole project about? So people understand, because we've been seeing 2 or 3 releases already under that name, and you had a feature of some hip hop people too on the last single, if I remember correctly. So
Sugar Gang and Melly Mel, yeah.
Yeah, so break us down. I mean, you're pushing 70s, 80s, and 90s all wrapped up in one. Bring it down, child. Break it down.
Well, that's it. It's another. This is another chapter and another year as well. This is from Qwestlife, goes back 10 years, and I met my partner Tom Leroy. He was sending me demos on SoundCloud when SoundCloud was the big thing. This was around probably 2012, and it was we're both Leroy Burgess, big boogie fans, and anyway, I was releasing the records. We released 3 EPs on my Ism imprint, and we had the album or we had 10 tracks. We had 10 tracks already made, and randomly out of the blue, I got an email from Simon Dunmore, and was like, "I want to create some synergy between ourselves and Midnight Riot." And I thought, wow, this could be a good meeting. And at the end of the meeting, he said, "Have you got any music that is unreleased, or you're looking for a home?" Went home, sent him the Qwestlife 10, 11 tracks, and that became the album. So just another really sort of amazing sort of story, because that project was I wouldn't say it was done, but we'd lost that energy, and he really he heard what we were doing and it gave it a new lease of life. So thank you.
What was it like working with the whole Defected Glitterbox team? Now, you running a label, of course, but now you're the artist handing over the product. What did that do for you and your image?
I mean, honestly, it was like your ultimate dream, because we got in there. I think we got in there at the formative time as well, before it went stratospheric. It was nearly about 3.5 years ago. So I think they'd only put out 1 single, and they were running the parties. So timing, just and also a blessing, like what I said, because we knew the project was good. We knew we had the songs, and it might have, if I hadn't have, it's just one of those things. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen along the way, and that was a good day.
Okay, so pausing on that now I'm going to make you change your hats. Okay, so everyone understands, there's a disco column that's been written for a while in a very, very strong small little magazine called Mix Mag, read by 250,000 to about 1 million people a month. And this gentleman in front of me, Andy, is actually the editor of the disco column. And that's how I got to really know him, because through some other people, we became, friends and colleagues. And next thing you knew, he's reviewing records, and a lot of things unfolded. How did Mix Mag, and how did you find your way to the Mix Mag family? What was that? Because Street Sounds, you mentioned, I remember Street Sounds and Mix Mag, they were always all one. Where do you where's that happen for you from the 90s on?
You mean, how did I join Mix Mag?
Yes, and then becoming editor of the disco column.
I think it's just a case of putting yourself out there, and they needed the previous editor moved on. He moved on to a different role in the company, and it was because I guess my face was online, and that they knew that I was making certain moves and grooves. So yeah, again, that was a good day because my whole thing is bringing people together, and
that is true. That is true.
and that is it, because I love people. I absolutely love meeting. My whole life has been full of music and these friendships, and that's something that I bring to that. Brought to Mixmag, and I want to help other people. It's not, if you help them, it shines a good light on you as well, as one of those individuals who is warm and open. And God, it'd be so boring if you felt the other way, because I, like yourself, you probably had the same friends forever, and they're still with me, and they're with me because of that outlook and that approach, and that's what I bring to everything, is the same attitude.
So when you're handed a whole load of mess of records, and I know you get a lot of records like I do, what's the cutting block for you to making it to that edition for the month?
Yeah, see, this is something that you just learn. If you've been doing it 3 or 4 years, you've kind of got a good circle and a good rota of people. People are hitting you up, and you try to sort of juggle. You're juggling a lot of different press companies and individual relationships as well, and people are pretty cool, because I've serviced everyone, and you're helping them. So to get into that, 6 or 7 reviews a month, that's pretty tight. So
yeah, because I know there's like 1,000 records handed to you, and you have to be somewhat very picky. I should say nitpicky.
it ain't no Vince Letty, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you got every week a column that you're putting out. You could do 30 records every week. You got to be 6 or 7 for the month. And B, tell people how far ahead you have to be too with this.
It's 8 to 10 weeks, which is, in a digital age, that's like unheard of, because 8 to 10 weeks now is that just doesn't work but it's because it's physical, and it's it's the old school, it's analog. So it's a nice, it's definitely just a nice world to be in, because it harks back to when the pace was a little bit slower, and that's been lost. We don't have we don't have this system anymore, how you enter. Not that you need any qualifications to get into music, but there was pre-digital. There was a certain way that you had to follow, and I like that. I like that about Mixmag. It's the print world.
And I'm going to tell you something. My hat is off to you, because a lot of records you reviewed actually did turn out to be some of the bigger records of our scene. So you've been doing a really good job picking. Which now brings us to this young lads at home in their bedrooms or in their harems, dreaming about disco and champagne dreams and caviar. Is Midnight Riot, when you sat down, what went into making Midnight Riot Records? What was the premise? What was the beginnings of that?
It was from it was born out of a little bit of tragedy. We had the London riots, we had the Tottenham riots started. I live in Tottenham, so this was 2000, and I think 2012. I was trying to get home from a gig. All the roads were shut. The police were saying there's a riot going on, and it happened. It was around midnight. So Midnight Riot came from the London riots, and yeah, I just thought, shit, that was a good, that's the name. I was like, that's it. Now I need a logo. So I didn't have any releases. All I wanted was a name and a logo. So I designed the logo. You know, I was like, yeah, the name is like, oh, what a great name. You know, one of these concepts where you're like, oh yeah, I've done it. I've done it. Like we all do. You know, you invest. You know, you start investing all this energy, and this was just one of those things that actually worked. It actually, I think it was to do with the age and my career, where I was at. I couldn't have done it at any other time. I had to go down this journey. I had to be out that night. This had to happen, and I woke up with a gut feeling, or about a week later, I had this feeling, this gut feeling, and it was because of what happened in London. And I was looking for something. I had Ism Records. I've got Ism Records, but I wanted something edgier. I wanted something a little bit more dark, and take the disco thing, but put a twist on it. And that was it. It just it fell out of the sky. The name came, the logo came, and then I made a compilation, or I wanted to make listening compilations. I didn't really want to make a record label per se. I just wanted I wanted to have a compilation. I wanted to make compilations, and then it kind of just snowballed, and here we are. But that's where it came from.
What year? What year was the
2012?
The God's year, the kind God's year of 2012 was when Midnight Riot came on the scene. Did you start with vinyl first, or were you already in the digital side?
Just digital albums, and I probably did that for about a year or 2 years. You're just finding your way. You're trying to figure out how you can not monetize it, but how you can go from a few releases into 8 years later. I had no idea. I had no game plan, and I've just put the work. I've put everything into this for 8 years, and that's why it's worked, because I'm a workaholic, and I don't want to go back to those shitty jobs. Thank you very much. See you later. That's what I use. I use the fear of having to go back to that life, and I think a lot of people do that. There's no way on God's earth am I leaving what I've created. So that's why we put everything into this. We all do this. And this is my last. This is it. Midnight Riot is this is all. I've given everything to be sitting here now talking to you. This is everything up to this day. I've given everything to being able to survive in music.
And that's a fair shake to you. You could take a bow now for that one.
I can take that.
Yeah, take your bow, your plie, as we say. But yes, let's ask the question. No, did you, starting 2012, expect it to be what it is now? Business-wise, time-wise, investment-wise, all the above. Is it hitting the marks that you expected, or is it something completely different? Because remember, people at home think this is grandeur. They think you're the king of your kingdom. Is it truly like that, or is it blood, sweat, and true tears to make this?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'd happily be a carpenter. I'd love to work with wood, and I was heavily into art. I was really into art. I was into all these facets that I used. I kind of had the tools, and you don't start with a name or a logo and expect anything. You're just laying down laying down your cards on the table and trying to come up with a concept. And but I mean, I would say this, like everyone, I couldn't have come up with that name or even conceived it unless I'd done XXX leading up to that moment. And this is something that might get lost in the future, because we came from that era. I had a job in a record shop for 12 years. I was an analog DJ, and I went through the system of signing to labels pre-internet, and so I already had like a 20 years of trying all these any angle to get in there. And then so 2012, I was really into where the digital era was going, and I was into marketing. Anything I could learn on YouTube, it's all free, it's all there for you, and that couldn't have happened at any other time. So to answer that question, that just happened then, and then I could see something. I could see I was onto something, and I think it was only when I sort of met Simon Dunmore and Luke Solomon, and they kind of reiterated, or they were in awe of what I was doing, and that was kind of like that was quite a moment, because you're just I'm in my own bubble. Like us all, you don't really think anyone's watching or really in awe of what you do, and so that kind of really gave me the confidence, or that made me raise my level, because all of a sudden you're about to play for Man City, or you got signed to the Premiership, and that's really helped me, because you're looking at what they do and how they run their business, and you apply it in your own little way to what you do. So that kind of really galvanized everything about the business, and it shines a light, and it makes you like a go-to person, and that's what Midnight Riot's become. It's like Glitterbox's little brother. Or if you can't get into that team, you can come to me, because I'm here. I'm online. I'm available. So that's kind of where we're at.
When you are A&Ring, that's the next hat. Editor puts down, producer puts down his hat. Now you're the A&R, along with Phil. I know Phil gets involved too. Phil Rose, wherever you are, hey. Phil's been also A&Ring with you from the northern part of England. He's a good DJ, really good DJ, good guy. I worked with him as well. What's some of the things you're looking for in the new projects coming in, for a producer sending stuff over from Midnight Riot to be accepted on the family of labels?
I mean, for me, it's then there needs to be a vocal, like a really well written vocal, or that's kind of what we want. Do we get that often? Maybe not, but you can work from the dream. You can get the dream track, and they're coming in, and that kind of raises the bar, and I think your filters, your A&R filters, will change from where you were 4 years ago, or whenever you started, because now you're like, okay, we've released something like this, but yeah, it's songwriting. It's definitely going back to the disco era. I'd love songs with messages. I think we need music with a message again, and I'm hoping that the situation will come out of this, and people will want to start shouting about what's right and what's wrong. I really think dance music needs that, and it's a powerful tool once you've got that song. So yeah, to answer that, I'd probably music with a message.
Here's the next question. How many records do you get with people using the same redundant vocals from sample packs?
Lenny, I mean,
come on.
Every day.
Like, does it drive you up a wall or what? Like, I hear the same friggin' vocal on another track from another producer.
I don't know, but yeah, you have to wade through it. I mean, I've got a circle of people who are producers, artists, and we're sticking. You stick to that circle, and then someone from outside might surprise you with their productions, and yeah. But you have we've got a tight, close knitted community. And people will come back to you if you've done a good job, and Yeah, it's hard. I don't really go looking for records. I'm in a position where they're coming in at a rapid pace, so that's a first, because I always hoped that would happen, where again we would be a go-to label, and that's one thing I was driving towards, and working so hard, and I want people to just to see us as a good avenue for their careers.
So there is a formula in your mind that needs to be fulfilled, I'm presuming, for the Midnight Riot criteria, right?
It is, but a lot of the I'm also producing, I'm remixing, I'm helping people with the production, the mastering. So the whole sound is, I'm the wizard behind the curtain, pulling the ropes. So I'm molding a lot of this. I'm doing the artwork. So that's kind of why I think that's where the strength is. It's I've done all these steps throughout the years, and I've stayed close to it. And now what you're seeing is the fruits of that, the hard work. And the A&Ring is just a part of it, but I'm making, I'm creating a lot of this, but not to say that I'm not helped by a lot of people, like yourself. You're making amazing tracks, and because we know each other, and you have these key people that come back to you.
Right, with quality product that
you get it. You got to get it.
Yeah, they're with you.
Got to get it.
They're all on the same page. We're all playing the same role. Make a great track. Push the track. Believe in the track. Explain that to these young kids. How important is taking an extra step? Even just as you're being a remixer and producer yourself, how important is that to take the? Because, let's be honest, it takes time, energy, money, everything to put into this. How important is that? Whereas someone with social media can do something and within 2 seconds have this phenomena, what's that entail? When you talk to these young kids, it's you must get these questions as an A&R guy. Come on, because I do.
I know, but we're that side of things. If something goes viral online, that's like adding hot water to a pot noodle, because to craft an incredible record that's going to be with us and will ignite the stars. That's a mystery, and you won't make too many of those in your career,
because that you've heard everybody the record labels. I want a record like that. Those are phenomena. Those are ones. But okay, so let's move that to the side. Let's go back to the Midnight Riot A&Ring team. You're talking to these young guys. They got, like you said, they got hot productions. What do you tell them to take that extra step? What's the extra step you feel they're missing? Most of the time.
I don't really guide them, or I can't really answer that too much, because I want them to chase what we're doing. And, you want to help them, but you can't really, because they have to live their life. And it's only when you get into your 30s and 40s and beyond, that's when life gets deep. And that's where you start to create the shit, the real shit. So, you're floating around in your 20s, you're trying to find your way. And, that's where you start. But, life is a mystery. And, some dark, gloomy moments will land in your closet. So, I don't know. I mean, not to say that you can't, you can make some incredible productions, but I don't know. It's a generational thing. This is something that I think about this a lot. I think about my early career, or when I was young, when I was running around like crazy, and the things that I chased then aren't the things that I want now. And so what I'm putting into what I do now, I wouldn't have done it then. So music definitely it's a generational thing. And your feelings change. You become a different person as 20, 30 years later. So for a young person to get into music now, like what you said, I'd probably use it as I'd have a plan B. I'd get into IT, technology, the computer side of it, and I've always seen myself as a bit of a background person, and I wanted to, I wanted to cover everything, and that's kind of what I've done. And I like that position because you can survive like that. You can, if you're running a label or a publishing company, or even, if you're making T-shirts or a, Bandcamp store, that's kind of those are the areas. Making a classic song, you can do that, and I think you can do it in your spare time when you're relaxed and you're actually not putting yourself under pressure, because the pressure to make it is that's a heavy burden. And I think all the best music, or a lot of songs that I like, they just feel natural and organic, and it's not manufactured. And I think that's a bit of advice I'd give to someone is just find your way a little bit. You don't have to come out in your 20s and catapult yourself into what you see as imminent stardom. I think it just take your time, learn everything, and you're going to have to anyway, because the business and the industry is changed beyond, within the last 6 months. Shit's got real.
Yeah. So a couple of other, these are some now questions that I know people probably asking themselves at home. It's easy to sample somebody else's record. Okay. And a lot of them don't understand the legal ramifications of sampling someone else's record. And you get those records like I get those records. A lot of times I have to say a no. It has to be a pushback because I know what's coming, the legal side. How do you deal with that? Getting some really great tracks. For example, like if a Buckethead's record was landed on your doorstep, a Kenny Dope record, how do you handle that knowing the producer doesn't really understand that, the ramification? Do you go forward on records like that? What do you do in this case?
You have a few choices. You can just, you could. I mean, you can't do that anymore, because when the Bucketheads came out, it was vinyl only, and it wasn't online. And if a record now has got a huge sample, I'd get it replayed, or there's people who can clear it, and if you find the right copyright owner, like the major, who can see what you're trying to do and is can see the benefits. But we either we don't use stuff, or we will replay the samples. But Buckethead, that's a whole different.
Yeah, when you got a sample like that. No, I'm just saying, because sometimes there is great records that are done, and you go, my God, I want to put this out. Do you take the chance? Do you wait to see if it gets flagged? I mean, what do you do? Because this is what people ask me all the time. Like, what do you do? Some of my biggest records, personally, I've had to clear because there was no way around it. They were going pop. You had no choice. I had no problem clearing it. It is what it is. They are a big part of the composition. Do you chance it and say, F it? Let's just throw it out there and hope for the best? Because when you look at track source, you hear a ton of those records. In fact, you hear them to the point where it sounds 1-to-1 to the original with some drums. How do you feel about that? Listen to as a DJ. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, as a DJ, you might play those tracks, but you can't run a record label just by putting out samples with kick drums. That's not really. You could get away with that for X amount of time, but no, you have to really you've got to go deeper, and it's boring as well. It's like I don't want a Kool and the Gang record with a kick drum under it. What is but hey, I mean, that's again, you're talking about younger producers. That's probably where they're starting, and they don't know anything about copyright. But as soon as it makes money, or if it's going to blow up, then you're going to have to make some pretty fast phone calls.
You're right. Exactly. Coronavirus, COVID-19. The year 2020 has changed all of us, has made us homebound. Are you holding back?
Humble.
Yeah, and humble and humility and all that, vigilant, crazy, depressed, happy, sad, all the above, okay? Do you feel releasing the way you've been releasing pre-COVID, can you still use the same formulas now? Or are you taking a different approach with the COVID going on with Midnight Riot?
Yeah, that's interesting. No, I didn't stop working. It was you have a decision. It's like, well, do I pause, or do I use this opportunity to to tap into a huge online market? And I think we've, I took the decision to up the release schedule, and we were getting sent a lot of music, and we still are. So it's like, well, okay, the form, the previous avenues, a lot of, the club scene, that's a weird one because we're selling club music, but I'm also looking at other styles of music, where, I'm looking at not just disco, but where can we go next if we're going to be into a listeners only world. So I don't know. I'm not going to stop working. I'm in constant isolation anyway. It's like a studio rat is, we're on constant lockdown. So just feed me my biscuits on the hour. I'm good to go.
Feed you the biscuits. What is the diet of a disco DJ? Back in the old days, it would have been cocaine, Coca-Cola, and and sunshades. Now, what is the diet of a disco DJ? What are you looking? How are we living?
I'm a healthy dude. Well, I mean, I don't have a hangover. I like to drink, but I don't have a hangover in the morning. That's my golden rule. So yeah, I go running. I run the streets of Tottenham. You'll see me out there, 4 seasons a year. So I got into running, and I hit 50 this year. So I want to keep doing this.
A milestone, bro. A milestone.
Yeah, I'm here to stay, man. And running, swimming, that's my thing. But and a good diet, a bit of everything. The partying days, they're slowing down, but I've still got juice in the tank.
So, what's if you can look in your crystal ball after COVID's over and it's behind us, what do you think is going to happen for us musically in the nightclub scene, the whole thing? What do you believe is going to happen?
I don't want to cast a bleak scenario, but if we've had 30 in London, or the UK, we've had 30 years of, it's literally someone's pumped air into a huge balloon, and that's the club scene. It came from nothing. It came from the darkness of the 80s into the joyful, euphoric late 80s, 90s, money-making super club years of the late 90s, 2000s, Ibiza, that's all gone. And so, because those businesses have shut down, but it will reappear. And I think, I don't want to say this, but I think something had to happen. And, I'm more concerned about the climate than COVID. I think global warming is going to do us anyway. So, we'll get through this. And I really hope, we're all talking again. We're talking about our new future. We're designing a new future, and clubbing can come back, and we can hug and kiss everyone again. And that's, at the moment, that's all you want to do, is just sort of be close to people, and the economics and the business will work itself out anyway.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I mean, especially here, like in New York. I mean, there's no discussion in the 5 boroughs of anything opening pre-2021. As far as internal restaurants, recreation, nightclubs, I mean, we're missing. I know as of right now, there's an income decimated that probably won't come back. But even when an atomic bomb hit, eventually we rebuild. Shall we rebuild? Will we all be there to rebuild? That's the question.
It is. It's. I mean, it's gonna creep back in, and yeah, even next year, it's gonna be a little bit hot and cold. You know, who knows? You're gonna get spikes. You're gonna. We don't know. We don't know how this is gonna morph or find its way in. You know, into our lives. So it will come back. It will come back. Nice shorts, by the way.
My dog is knocking at the door. She wants to be she wants to be part of the interview. She's scratching. But you know, I'm optimistic. I really believe people need to be entertained. I really think when this is over, people are going to want to come out every day of the week, all night long. They're going to want. I felt like everything that we know was taken from us.
Yeah, sure.
Our normal way of life. It's sad. It's sad, but we'll put it together brick by brick. I do believe, you know, but I think there's going to be different players when we come back. Like, I think the game is going to shift. We're seeing so much through the digital outlets of new artists and just new players that are just showcasing. It's amazing. I know you're seeing it too. I just don't know how the next steps are going to be, because there's a word called uncertainty, you know. And as you're saying what you're saying, people are writing that the climate change is very prevalent. It is a problem. We know that. And COVID is basically has made everybody distracted, because lately I've been losing people to other things besides COVID. Like I went to someone's funeral for a brain aneurysm. This person died for this, you know, old age. You know, you just forget that you could get sick from something else. Like everything is COVID-19, Corona, blah, blah, blah. You forget that all these great things that we were all involved in pre to it. The dreams I had pre to COVID are so different now to when I was back in February.
Yeah, true.
Does it feel like 6 months to you that we're all been closed down, or does it feel longer?
I can't even tell you. Yeah, it's like the twilight years. It is. I don't know. I mean, but like what I was saying. You know, choosing to do this, choosing to be in music. It's a strange world anyway. So a lot of ups and downs. This has just magnified a lot of those feelings and insecurities as well. And you know, we'll still be doing this. We'll still be. We are addicted to this, and it's our passion. So in some shape or form, we'll still be around. You know, we're not going anywhere.
Andy, here's one for you, brother. You're turning the half-century mark. You look back at the guy at 25 years old when he's at Reckless Records. What do you tell him? What do you tell him what he should be doing? What he should be preparing for? I asked Michael Gray the same question. He gave us a really good answer. I want to know what you would be telling that young man, Andy, before he became Midnight Riots and all this wonderful things that you acquired and all the success.
I mean, to a certain degree, I was. I've always felt like I'm an old soul in a young body, and even then, I knew there was no other choice for me. I was gonna make it somehow. I just didn't think it would take this long, and I was desperate to have a career in music. So I was always really super focused, and that started before that. The moment I left home, that was when I was like, right, I need to find something. So at 25, I got given the opportunity, and I took that opportunity, and that's kind of where I really got serious about, okay, I might have a chance to probably just a DJ, and I wanted to discover music, and that's kind of what as I was saying, led me up to the production side of it. But I was a party guy, you know. I wasn't that crazy because I had no support system, so I've always had to look after myself, and by having no support system is quite a good thing, because you can only rely on your own skills, and that's kind of what I knew I had to have skills, and that's how I was when I was 25. I was gonna make it in the music industry, one way or other, but it just took forever.
As I asked all the other artists, I'll ask you the series of questions the same way, and this is some of them. One of them is the greatest moment in your musical history, as in the industry, and the second part to the question is the most darkest moment, hardest moment.
I mean, I can't top CC Rogers, I'm afraid.
I was gonna say CC's is unbelievable. He gets the platinum award, right? It was incredible when I heard that. But go ahead.
I mean, gig wise, it has to be Glitterbox in Ibiza. You know, after all those years, I've had some incredible, you know, every gig I love every, you know, I love going out and playing music. But I think because it took me so long, I was 47 when I signed to Glitterbox, and so I've had some amazing gigs as Yam Who, but yeah, I think Glitterbox Ibiza, that's a nice one to put on your CV.
Is it safe to say you should never stop dreaming if it takes you 47 long, hard years to get there?
I mean, I've still got some dreams, and but as a DJ career, that's, you know, I mean, you know, what they've achieved with that brand and the club nights, and again, it's the thing is, as I was saying, it's what you come to realize, it's a generational thing, because when you're 20, 30, you have your dream gigs, and you think, oh, okay, I've made it now. And then lo and behold, 10 years later, you've got no gigs, and you're chasing the next gig. So, you know, you do have, you know, you have to set your dreams really high, because that means you're always going to be chasing them. So, you know, I still have things that I want to achieve, but yeah, dark moments. I mean, you know, what time is it? Is it past bedtime? I mean, I can, you know, I was a DJ in Edinburgh for 4 years. This is after I left college, and this would have been 92 to 96, and that was when, I don't know if people in America know about a film called Trainspotting by Irving Welsh. And that they were dark years, and I was a club promoter, DJ in Scotland, and that's where you learn a lot about culture, society, and it's magnified through nightlife. And yeah, they were hard times, but again, I wouldn't swap it for the world, because it just makes you who you are, really.
And that's what I always say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Stronger, yeah.
The DJing has taken you now at Midnight Riot and Yam Who and Qwestlife around the world. Where is this taking you? Besides Ibiza, where has this taken you? Like, you know, for some of us, it's been all over the world. Were there any of those dreams to travel the world as a DJ and all that? Or was it just something just happened for you?
Yeah, I mean, even the early years with Yam Who, it absolutely, the DJing exploded, and I was probably traveling every weekend. But yeah, you know, everyone, we still want to get out there, and you know, but now, you know, the label Midnight Riot has taken over everything. So I was still DJing, and I'd love to go back there, but the problem is, it's, you know, running a label is pretty serious, and the responsibility, and you know, you have to look after people. That's the one thing, I don't want to let people down. And, luckily the success has led to a lot more DJing in the last sort of 4 or 5 years. So that was a good way to do it, because coming up with the label that allowed me to re-enter or, be discovered again. And, meeting people like yourself, that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't set up the label. So, it's been a great learning curve doing the business side of it, because I don't think I was focused on that in my younger days.
And people don't understand that when they say running a label. They don't understand the administration part of it. Like, it's all fun to go in the studio and make records. But how hard is it, truly? I mean, how many hours a day are you working on this label?
Yeah, it's it doesn't stop. So and it hasn't stopped. And that's the only way you can do it. Thankfully, technology, I can do it from a lot of places, or you can do it from an airport lounge, or what, when you were traveling. So the technology is allowed me and others to you do it on the move. But yeah, you never stop. It's an addictive drug. Especially when you find success as well, because you don't, like what I was saying, you don't want to let it go either. So that's another thing. It's just it can be a bit of a cruel mistress, because the success, that's the difficult thing. It's a difficult thing to you don't want to lose it, but you are going to lose it because you can't stay on top of your game forever. So I'm constantly looking for ways to, just sustain the dream, really. That's another thing that, I don't think people realize is not the pressure, but it's when you actually achieve certain things, you need to deliver the next day and the next week and year after year. That's no easy task, trust me.
For some people, music is a hobby. For you, it's your life, your career, and everything that makes you who you are. What are some of the hobbies that you run away from the music, the job, to go and hang out and do? Because, you got to have something else. Can't be doing music 24/7. It's got to be something else in your life.
No, you'd be surprised, because I'd say through COVID, I got into cycling and cycling around London. So any form of exercise, because that gives you that reinvigorates you, and but you won't find me far from music. But the thing that the thing I would say about the whole Midnight Riot thing is you can apply anything to your vision or fuel your utopia through music or creativity. And so, my life is my art, my art is my life. And so I don't need to step away from it, because I'm that close to it. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I'm happy doing this. I'm happy, what I've achieved, and my my friendship is key to it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a problem. I don't step away from it, because everything, I've built, I like building stuff as well, so I'm a hands-on person, and if I could design sound systems or open a nightclub, I would do that, and happily, that would still be my life. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Awesome. Production tips. What's the programs of choice? What's your go-to in your toolbox? For everybody that's watching, they would like to know. People have been asking me, what's he work with? What's he do? We see all this equipment behind you.
Yeah,
take us on a tour.
It's all analog. So, yeah, iMac. I've got a UAD sound card, barefoot monitors. There's a Moog Fatty and a Prophet Rev 2, which is a Dave Smith emulation of the Prophet. and a lot, and yeah, main it's all analog. I'm using Logic Pro. For beats, I'm using an Akai sampler. It's all pretty much analog, and I don't always mix down here. I've got a guy called Matt Bandy. Matt Bandy's there's a lot of mixing for me, and I mix myself. But
doesn't Matt mix for Dave Lee as well? I think, and some
that's
other
right.
the American bloke.
He is. He's been here probably 10, 15 years.
Listen to me, bloke, an American bloke. Yes.
American geezer.
Yeah, the geese.
So yeah, that's it. It's a really simple setup, and I think you have to cast your mind back to when you first walked into a recording studio, and it was like walking into like boarding a spaceship. And flashing lights, you had no concept of what stuff did. And then, lo and behold, all these years later, if you want to talk about production or creating a song, it's all about simplicity, and also the process. Okay, you should study signal flow, just think about it as a very simple task, and when it doesn't really matter what software you're using, because it's still, there's a start, a middle, and the end. So that's something that I've sort of come to understand more, is the simplicity of creating a song. Because when you've made 100 tracks, or however, all your remixes, you understand how it's all broken down. And the one thing that I've come to really understand is playing an instrument. Put the producing aside. Since COVID, I've just been playing more piano and understanding jazz and the blues. And then if you want to go back to simplicity of composition, and putting that back, where do I start today with this stuff that I'm feeling, or if I'm remixing, and okay, I've got my setup here, but it's that thought process and the simplicity that's key to it all. Leaving less out, creating the space, or finding the space. And tempo as well. Tempo is an interesting thing, because or the groove or the swing. But yeah, going back to equipment, you can make anything with the worst, the most basic, simplistic equipment, or you could have world's your oyster. But it's all analog, and I'm fortunate. I work with a lot of vocals, or I get sent great songs, and that's something that I never had previously. And so if you've got a vocal and you're working with that, that's kind of your, that's your building. That's your building block. You work around that song, and that's kind of something that I've always gravitated towards, is the vocal. And that's an easy way to you're just adding your ingredients into the mix after that.
What's the criteria when someone's asking you to remix their project? Another label comes to you and says, "Hey, dude, I need that Midnight Riot. I need that sound." Because how they always say that. I want, give me your sound. What's your criteria in order to make this work? To do a successful remix?
Money.
Well, besides the money, first we know the money is always a big thing, but does it? Because I know Michael Gray, for example, he's very picky at times. He can be very picky with records he wants to work on. What's it for you?
It's whether there has to be a vocal. I'm not an instrumental guy, although not to dismiss anything, but I don't know. Maybe it's the era that we come from, or I don't know. But yeah, there has to be a vocal. There has to be, yeah, you have to connect with that person who's commissioning you for that work. It could be a random, it could be a major label, but you know, having done a lot of remixing, you know exactly the moment that that proposal lands in your email box, you pretty much know within seconds whether you can actually you know, answer or if there's a job, because I'm probably not the top 10 remix guy to go to, and that's a well earned position. But I'm under that, and I can deliver. And yeah, I want to work with a great vocal, and you know, I've been lucky enough to have those opportunities.
I get a lot of emails personally as the producer artist, and people will send me a private messages. Please, Lenny, I want to remix for you. I want to remix for you. I'll do anything to do it. Blah blah blah. How important is the person, stature-wise, opposed to the talent? Is that more important that the person has the talent as the remixer or the name sake in today's digital business?
I mean, so we've worked with, I'd say, with all the key names, and then we've worked with absolute unknowns. And you can tell you'll always research, or you might know that person instantly, but you'll always research what it is. It's whether you want to get involved with someone on a business level or even on a creative level, and that's something I would say I'm a bit more picky, or my filters are higher now than they were before, because when you start out, you have no experience, and so yeah, that's I would love to have the budget to bring in like all A-listers, but sadly that can bankrupt you as well. So you kind of have to just you know, I've set up this this label, and you know, I'm in a fortunate position where you can be a bit picky, or you're attracting, you know, up and coming people, and that's a bit of a luxury, or it's a nice place to be, because you know, you're not throwing yourself into certain situations you did originally. So if that answers your question.
Someone doesn't know anything about what we do. They're a DJ, they're aspiring. They say to you, Andy, where do I begin? You know, where do I begin? What would you tell them? You say, go to school? What would, you know, I'm looking at your setup. I'm like, wow, that's a piano. That's cool. But how do we make sounds work? Where do you send someone? What do you tell them to do? You know, when they're in that position.
Yeah, I mean, luckily you can go to college now. We didn't really have so many, you know, there wasn't really an industry, so we made up the industry. And where would I start? I'd start on YouTube because it's free, and yeah, learn the piano, learn blues. It's all there on YouTube, because once you've got your chops, your skills, you can go on to composition and become like an artist, a producer. And for disco or funk or soul, I think there's a window there for people to become songwriters, or you know, or artists, or even studio session guys, or you know, girls. I think I would forget about the DJing for now, and also the business side of it. I'd learn something on YouTube because it's free, or you know, you can get everything there. You don't have to go to college, or you know, if you have the finance, maybe you can.
Jesus, you know, you make me think about that for a minute. There was just basic engineering schools back in the day, which was just signal flow. You know, they didn't really have the MIDI side of it. And you kind of had to have, you know, if you didn't have a whole resource of people around you to help you, you kind of had to have some musical training to be able to know, okay, I got to be, you know, I can listen to a record and say, I want it to sound like this, but I know what instrumentation goes in, all that good stuff. But you covered it quite well. I also want to make note, I got to thank him for helping us take Shirley Light's Fire to #1 position. We did that project. That was a project of projects.
Philadelphia, baby.
That's it, Philly. You know, when he talks about he wanted to be part of that Philly thing, he became part of Philadelphia, bringing Shirley Lights into Midnight Riot. That was a great project. And I remember you calling me early on about it. Do you remember when you first heard it? Now you got to tell people about the Shirley Lights Fire record, because we got to give her a lot of credit. She turned that track out.
Oh my God. I mean, for me, Philadelphia needs to be rediscovered, and like a lot of cities, but that's somewhere, bringing back these artists, and that you're turning them on to a whole new generation. It's that's something that I really love doing, and it was a pleasure to be involved.
You did a great job. I mean, it was one of the most hammered records you heard every club. And that's what we're talking about. What's sad is right now, we're back to this again. You got fantastic records that you need a club and a festival level audience to experience to keep a record moving. What the hell are we going to do from now till it opens up? Because I had another record with him that we were going to do. Vangela White. We had this other record. We just all put it on hold because now we're taking our best stuff and waiting and praying for the day that this is over. And I know he's feeling the same way I'm feeling, that it's going to come to an end, but it may just disappear, or we may have a vaccination. We don't know. But most importantly, guys, work hard. He said the magic words, songs. That was what was missing for a while, if you remember. There was a period in dance music, there was no big vocals no more. There was some years that you were just hearing a lot of tracks. Electro scene came big, and the music changed, and the songs, the big diva vocals went back underground. Now they're in vogue. Now people want them. This new age of younger club audience, or should I say internet goers, are hungry to hear really good songs. And that's something you really hit right on the head. And everybody that I bring on this show says the same thing. Either we are dinosaurs or we just make sense when we say it's all about the song. Because you can have the most amazing backing track ever without that vocal. When we talk about a song, not instrumental piece, but when you're talking about a song, without that vocalist and without that key song, there would have been no Shirley Lights Fire, no CeCe Rogers Someday, no Tent City, That's the Way Love Is Devotion, no Qwestlife, none of those records. None of those records. Are you into all of us retouching the classics of Philly, like Dave Lee is doing constantly, and Dr. Packer, and all the names, Dimitri from Paris? How do you feel about that? The remix taking those historic recordings and retouching them. Do you believe it should be done, or what's your take on that?
That and more, because I always think it's we're in our little bubble here, and I always think it's a forgotten era. And also you have to remember that all the multi-tracks weren't accessible for a long time. So stems or multis are a big trend now, and rightly so, because if you're just going beyond whether it's a trend or not, or whether it's being overdone or whatever, for me, discovering the magic or the DNA of what goes into those tracks, it's not just disco or whatever, but if you get hold of the multis and you go through, this is where you discover how a song fits, the magic, the glue, the session players. And so it's just an art form. And house music came in, deep house, techno, obliterated this conversation. So people like Dave Lee, John Morales, they know about this. We're in awe of that whole when there was a budget for session players. So not only that, I mean, what I'm doing, I'm trying to modernize that whole era. I'm trying to re-engage and reinvigorate a younger audience to acknowledge that whole era, because club culture, it might sample bits here and there, but I think we need to go back and look at that era more, not just the disco, but the whole artistry. So that's something that it's much bigger. The answer is much bigger than that, and I think this era can be it can be moved forwards. I don't know how you can do that without the budget, but that's something that's like deep in my heart is the artistry and the concept or the process of putting all of that together. So, I'm not really fixated with who's doing a new mix of it. I just think it needs to be reintroduced, remarketed online, because it's never been sold on the internet. It was it's all analog. It's pre old millennia. So for now, this is what I'm doing. I'm going back. I'm taking that and I'm modernizing it. I'm putting a new twist. I'm adding new colors. I'm marketing it in a new way, and that's what makes it unique or exciting. And who knows where it's going to lead, but I love it. I mean, I love Dave Lee. Oh man, the legendary numero uno.
So let me just break in. John Morales wrote, but you do it from a production side, and re-recording the tracks you do.
Uh-huh.
That's what he said. He's and he says you're a top man. So hats off to you, Andy.
I love you, John. Yeah, I love you. Yeah.
And we have to. That's why I bring up Dave Lee. These are all our friends and people we work with, we respect in our community. Of course, David Morales, Louis Vega, all the DJs that help make this work. But again, as the head honcho of Midnight Riot, I mean, you've kind of laid it all out. You want people to get budget players in. You want those live instrumentation. That's on your bucket list. I mean, you can hear it. I can hear you telling you that. And you want to know something? Dude, we did that in the 90s. We're doing it again. What's sad is that, the dark side of it, as you said it, the budgets are not there. So how do you go about getting everybody to do all the live instrumentation? This is the age-old question of this new era, this new century. Because Spotify and all this is nice. It's great that your record gets, shared on Spotify lists and all that stuff. But, without hard sales, it's difficult. It's a difficult game now. Definitely is a difficult game. And before we wrap up, is there anything that, you want to tell these young aspiring producers sending stuff to you? Is there anything that we missed? Because I think you covered everything. I had you speak about every piece of it. As far as an A&R man, as far as a record label, the concept, the vision, the dream, the fantasy, I get it. It's amazing, dude. And hats off to you on that. Is there anything that I left out? I mean, should I say not me, but as you did? Do you think there's anything we need to cover?
I think if you're young and aspiring, it's just definitely expanding your skill set, because don't follow the DJ or the artist dream straight off. Just think about the business, or think about just learning. I just thought, sod that. I'm going to make a brand, and I think you need to go a lot bigger with how you want to do it. And if you can step into music at some point, do it. But there's other avenues because it's so competitive. But it's not to say that you can't write the most beautiful song tonight or tomorrow. That's not to say you can't. But generally speaking, expand your skill set, learn an instrument. something I wish I'd done a lot earlier. And I think that's kind of what's missing, you know. And it's all there. It's all there for free on YouTube. You know, whatever you want to do.
Could you imagine if we had that back then? Could you imagine we had YouTube? How to do this? How to do that? What would we be doing now? Incredible, right?
Press this button. Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, as I think, as I was saying, it's a generational thing, because, you know, if you're talking about encouraging younger people, I don't think you need to. I really try hard not to think like that. I don't want to think that I'm old. I want to think tomorrow is a new day, and it is a generational thing. You know, why can't you still be doing this your whole life as well? So if you are starting out, think about doing it forever. Okay, you know, this is going to be your life. How can I do this? It's possible. It's possible.
A lot of people writing, you could waste a lot of time on YouTube too. Getting sidetracked when you try to find something. Oh God, people love what you had to say. There a lot of people are thanking us, and they were saying it's a very interesting show. Looking forward to hearing some of the new tunes that come out from your label. And a lot of people felt you were inspiring to hear, you know, you talk the truth. And truth to power, my friend. Truth to power. I can't thank you enough. I mean, Midnight Riot's got a lot of story left to tell. It's on page 50 of 4,000 more pages to go before this ends, right?
Only just beginning.
It's only just begun. It's incredible. And the story, and I always tell this to everyone, unless you're on someone's lapel and watching everything, you don't really know the kind of hard work that goes into this. Everyone has their story, and each story is different and important to the whole machine.
Definitely.
Because you know what? By you coming on board and bringing Midnight Riot, you brought heat to other people. You step up other people's game. Because now they're like, oh my God, that's a go-to. That's a hot label. I want to be part of this. I want to be part of that brand. And it's such an important thing that you mentioned, branding. People don't understand that word, branding. You know, Coca-Cola is a brand. British Airways is a brand. You know, Midnight Riot is a brand. And when you think of the brand, you think of disco now. Is that we're going to stay there? Are we staying there? Or are we going to rock a ship to another level? That's all time will tell.
It is. Branding is, you know, we're in a branding universe. So just, yeah, apply that to, if you want to be an artist or a label, yeah, apply marketing and branding. That's something that, you know, I learned at college. So I use that. I use that every day. Get into typography. I became obsessed with typography and how words and letters fit together. And that's another thing, you know, if I'm talking about the simplicity of creation, you know, what you leave in and what you leave out. And, you know, I've applied that to, you know, you can apply that to everything. Yeah, get into typography, people. And color palettes.
It sounds like, to me, it's like almost like graphic designing.
Exactly, yeah.
You heard that from the man, the head honcho. Listen, you want your disco record to be seen? Make sure he gets a copy of it. If he likes it, he will write about it. You heard him. He says, but he has to like it. He has to believe in it. And make sure you get it with some lead time. Give him time to get it scheduled in. Very important. If you want to be on his label, step up your productions. Listen to what he's putting out and try to do better. That's what we all did when we were coming up. We used to hear the record labels, what we were putting out, and we would then say, I can do that. Well, if you can do that, then do it better. Don't just be like the rest, a number, a statistic. Stand tall, stand strong. Midnight Riot is a label that's not going anywhere. It has cemented itself in disco history. I am so proud to say that in today's game, I have a piece of the game with them as well. And they've done me well. And I have to applaud Mr. Andy Williams. Thank you so much, brother man. Andy Williams, known as Yam Who, known as Qwestlife. He is part of the Glitterbox family. He is proud to be part of the Glitterbox family. He's experienced working with some of the best artists in the game. And he's not stopping there. He's got more tricks up his sleeve. He told me more stuff I'm not going to share with you because it's none of your damn business. But that's for us because we were joking, of course. And we all love the music. And I've said this, Frankie Knuckles has said this. If you're in it for the money, leave now. Because even when the money was amazing, if it's all you went into it for, you will fail. You will fail. You must love what you do because then it is no longer work. And on that note, I want to again thank you, Andy, again for sharing your time with us on True House Stories, Midnight Records, head honcho, UK, London. I didn't even know he was Welsh. That blew me away. See, we always learn some other stuff. And I forgot that he worked at Reckless Records. That was so cool. Bravo to you, Mr. Williams. Thank you again. And let's all stay safe. Keep putting your masks on. Don't make this political. Be vigilant. Be careful. Let's come back. I want to party with you all. Can't wait to play again. He can't wait either. We're all hoping for the best. We're hoping we can get through this with Godspeed. Andy, take us to the end. What's your next releases coming up at Midnight Riot? What's the hot pieces coming up?
It's a yacht, yacht rock.
Oh, yacht rock! All right.
Steely Dan, Kenny Loggins, Sade, Toto, Hall & Oates. Yeah, so Midnight Riot remakes of all the classics. And it's Bad Boy. It's a Bad Boy album.
Well, we'll be getting that soon. It's
October.
All right.
All new versions, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
well, there it is.
Trust me.
I trust you. I know, and my ears trust you. You're a go-to. You are our guy. You're our guru, Midnight Riot. Have a great night. Thank you so much. It is now 1:45.